Most people remember the prodigal son as a simple story: a rebellious young man wastes everything, returns home and receives forgiveness. But Jesus told a deeper story. There are two lost sons, one broken father, and a final door left open for the listener. The younger son asks for his inheritance while his father is still alive. In that culture, the request is more than impatience. It treats the father as though he were already dead. The son does not simply want money. He wants the father's gifts without the father's presence. The father divides his property. He does not imprison the son, argue him into love, or remove his freedom. This is one of the painful truths inside the parable. Love may allow a person to walk away, even when everyone can see the road will end badly. The son travels to a distant country and spends everything. At first, freedom feels like abundance. Then the money disappears, a famine arrives, and the friendships built around his wealth vanish. The distant country becomes the place where his imagined independence is exposed as dependence on strangers. He ends up feeding pigs, an image chosen to shock Jesus' Jewish listeners. He is hungry enough to desire the animals' food. This is not only financial collapse. It is humiliation, isolation, and the feeling that he has crossed too many lines to belong anywhere again. Then the text says he comes to his senses. Repentance begins before the journey home. It begins when the false story finally breaks. He remembers that even his father's hired servants have bread, while the freedom he purchased has left him starving. He prepares a speech. He will confess that he has sinned against heaven and against his father. He will say he is no longer worthy to be called a son. Then he will ask for a place among the servants. He hopes for survival, not restoration. But while he is still far away, the father sees him. That detail means the father has not forgotten the road. Perhaps he has watched it every morning. The son believes he is returning unnoticed. The father recognizes his shape before the speech can begin. Then comes the detail many people miss: the father runs. A respected older man in that world would not normally gather his robe and sprint through the village. The father accepts public embarrassment to reach his disgraced child before the child reaches the accusing crowd. The son begins his confession, but the father does not let him finish the offer to become a servant. Instead, he calls for the best robe, a ring, and sandals. Each gift answers the son's shame. He is not merely allowed to stay. He is publicly restored as family. The celebration begins because the father says his son was dead and is alive again, lost and now found. Grace does not pretend the distant country was harmless. It names the death, the loss, and the damage. But it refuses to let failure become the son's final identity. Then Jesus turns the story toward the older brother. He never left home. He worked, obeyed, and protected the family's reputation. Yet when he hears the music, he becomes angry and refuses to enter. His body remained near the father, but his heart lived at the distance of resentment. The older brother speaks like a servant, not a son. He counts years, commands, and rewards. He cannot say my brother, he says this son of yours. The younger son broke the rules to escape the father. The older son kept the rules to control what he believed the father owed him. The father goes out to him too. This is the second act of costly love. He ran toward the obvious sinner, and now he leaves the celebration to plead with the respectable one. The father's mercy searches both the distant country and the field beside the house. Jesus ends without telling us whether the older brother enters. The unfinished ending places the decision in the hands of the listeners. Will they celebrate when grace reaches someone they judge unworthy, or will they remain outside while insisting that their obedience deserves more? The parable is not asking which son is worse. It is revealing two ways to be lost: running from the father and using goodness as a reason not to love. The invitation is the same for both. Come home, enter the celebration, and receive relationship as a gift.